Oh, look,
Peacocky with the strut.
With a strut. Yeah. Hand it to somebody, Peacocky. All right, there we go. To Connor Rogers. Turn around. It's a TV show, Peacocky. Look at the camera. There we go. Moonwalking.
There's your moonwalking.
Moonwalking. Oh, careful, Peacocky.
Oh, my goodness.
We know we can't. We don't need an HR violation.
That's
It's so hot.
It's RotoPat.
So hot.
That's a good surprise.
Oh my God.
That's a really League Assholes champion right here.
I'm about to have a fifth child, which some people might like, how do you have time to play fantasy? It's the opposite. Like, oh man, I need something to focus on other than my kids.
You're the Philip Rivers of NBC. You're very RotoPat, very fertile. That's what we've learned today.
He's potent.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Sorry, no RotoPat in the Peacocky costume today, but what a...
We got an hour to go. You never know.
That's right. We were actually very surprised.
Yeah. After that showing, RotoPat is now one of the 4 most famous St. Louis Cardinals fans of all time, joining Jason Tatum, Billy Bob Thornton, and Nelly. And RotoPat's number 4. So well done for RotoPat cracking the top 4.
I mean, I would love to argue with you, but I can't.
No,
I
cannot. I agree.
The only other contender is John Goodman.
I do think John Goodman is probably more famous than RotoPat.
What about Matthew Kachuk?
Maybe.
I would think so, too.
Not the worst response.
Yeah, I mean, like, people know that even I'm not a big hockey guy, but even I know that, that was a hockey player.
Yeah, very good.
No.
Yeah. Like, I grew up in Texas. I'm not a,
But don't have ice down there.
We don't. I mean, the
Dallas Stars don't exist.
They'd moved there much longer.
That is true.
But I'm at least sports cognizant enough to know that they used to be in Minnesota, right? That the Stars used to be
and then Minnesota became the Wild, and on and on we go.
Yeah. See,
and the Stars are big in the state of Texas.
Yes, they are.
Good following, a lot of talent.
People love the Stars.
Yes.
But again, I had moved out. That was way after I had moved out.
You missed a good era.
I really did as well. Bring back the Whalers. That's all we want. Bring back the Whalers. That's what we need to do. This show needs to become successful enough so that we can then sell it by the Whalers.
And we make an expansion in the NHL, and Fantasy Football Happy Hour owns the Whalers.
We don't have to. We could just buy one of the crappy teams. Like, come on. Like, you tell me we couldn't afford the Columbus Blue Jackets?
You're on to something. You
I'm just saying.
Something right now.
I'll be honest. Yeah.
Ved says next year in the Peacocky costume, Beyonce.
Absolutely.
That's a couple steps above.
We had her booked in, and then just a scheduling conflict. Unfortunately, we had to make a quick pivot.
Our pivot is RotoPat from Beyonce.
Yeah, exactly right.
Incredible.
We could get Flacco. We could get Flacco.
We probably could.
I don't know.
Flacco or Todd
It'd be
Zeal.
unlikely, but it's not impossible.
Todd Zeal would do it.
Todd Zeal, there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean,
Todd Zeal has done content for our show before, and really good content.
Really good
draft
content.
Order.
That didn't cost us a lot. He was a bargain on
Cameo.
Is that right? Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. We talked about this. What I want, and maybe there's some volunteers out there. What I was saying before you showed up on the show here, Connor, Jay and I got here early. We were talking. But thanks for making it. What I was going to say is...
I'm not on the fancy commercials, so I just stroll in once all those are done.
No, the joke here is that Connor is almost always the first one here, and I'm like, right, hey, we're counting down. And
today is your day.
Kevin
is your day.
Putting in my thing. But we're just saying, like, we should have Peacocky as the bartender permanently.
I'd like that.
And maybe
a silent
different
bartender?
Yeah, and then just maybe different people are in the suit and they reveal themselves at the end. Each time. Or
and look, it's at odds board with DraftKings.
What?
It's a sold segment.
Yes.
The only issue is that
we need a crown for Peacocky.
Right.
The crown is yours, Peacocky.
The only thing is that from everyone who's been in that costume, it does seem like a mild form of human torture with the level of heat.
How can you wash a mascot costume?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's
Does it go to dry cleaners?
No, it doesn't.
You know who would be Peacocky? You know who would do it in 100?
The first one, like bartender version?
Big Show. Big Show loves the camera. Big Show would do it in 100.
But he wouldn't wear.
He might just wear the helmet.
He would turn the costume into a human pond of sweat.
Big Show would wear.
It'd be no good. He would drown.
Big Show would have the Peacocky head,
pouring
and
out.
then like a Patriots jersey. That's he doesn't. He's not putting on the full outfit.
Williams jersey and a peacock.
SEC man says Connor has to drive himself to the set, unlike the limo boys.
Oh wow,
that's good.
The limo
that's
boys.
good.
I like that.
That's really good. See,
like
you love it. You're ashamed of it.
I'm driving a Subaru Forester. Thank you very much.
Speaking of the regulars, Aloha Bricks, who was the first Fantasy Football Happy Hour regular of the year. I've heard Aloha Bricks has a victory speech that has to be read on the show because obviously Aloha Bricks, regular of the year, said Aloha and mahalo to every single person for this award. This Peacocky is everybody's. We all love this show, and every single person that watches, produces, or hosts this show makes it special. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's why you're
Cheers,
regular,
Aloha
regular
Bricks.
of the year.
Cheers, Aloha.
Right
Yeah, that's
there.
right.
A
There you
selfless
go.
speech.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm very selfless.
News to break, Jonathan Medici, he sent in advance, because he wasn't able to watch the show yesterday, because he was teaching a lesson on screenplay writing, which you could learn from, Matthew, judging
you should
on
probably
your
sign up
Finding
for his
Nemo
class.
script.
Maybe watch a Godfather too.
He sent us, I didn't have time to read the whole thing, it was very long, but he sent us an advance acceptance speech for a Peacocky that he never won, which I find
But
brilliant.
save it
And
for
we
next
will
year.
run that at some
Save it
point.
for next year.
Yeah.
No, hey, Medici, because I know you're watching here.
Welcome to the club, Medici, of runner-ups.
Medici, I want you to, on video, I want you to give that acceptance speech, and we will run it on this show next time we're back here. I mean, keep it short. Let's not get crazy. But, yeah, we'll do that.
very
I
good.
would like that. I like the fact that he wrote one thinking he was winning. Anyway, congratulations to Aloha Bricks. Medici also crushing all of our regulars. It was the hardest vote of all, I feel like,
without
of all
doubt.
of our awards.
Yeah, there are a lot of dedicated viewers of this show. Listen, we have a lot of NFL stuff to go through today. The divisional round preview. We're doing what's on tap. Jay and I have pickup lines. Matthew will pick Jay. You know the deal by now.
I got a good one.
Before we do any of that, Giants fans, if you are out there, you are watching, welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour Bar. You drink for free today because you've been hurting, you've been down, and this morning you woke up with news that John Harbaugh is the newest head coach of your organization.
The official Giants fan of Fantasy Football Happy Hour, backup producer Pete, very excited. On the way to Baltimore right now to pick up to help Coach Harbaugh move as well. There's a tweet
Art Stapleton. He's been covering the Giants for a while. Art's a great guy. I'm told John Harbaugh has accepted the job as the head coach of the New York Giants per source. Agreement reached, deal done. All that's left is pen to paper and an official announcement.
So I think, listen, for an organization that has had a tremendous amount of turmoil over the last handful of years, John Harbaugh is a big, bold-faced name that brings stability, in theory, to the team. I would suspect that some of the contract demands that have leaked out about Harbaugh, I don't know if they're true or not, but certainly John Harbaugh, who had a number of options for him, wouldn't have come to the Giants unless he got obviously the salary he wanted, but also the protections, the budget for a coaching staff that he wanted, assurances from the front office, from management, and that he could have a significant say. This would be my guess here. All that said, Jay, your thoughts? Because I don't know that every Giants fan should be drinking in joy. I think some might want to be drinking in tears.
Yeah, you can drink in sadness if you wish.
Yeah.
Here's my question, Connor. If John's brother didn't run a million fade routes to Michael Crabtree in New Orleans in the Super Bowl, and they just ran QB power with Kaepernick into the end zone, do we think John Harbaugh is a good coach? Like, what is the evidence in the past 12 years that John Harbaugh is a really good coach?
It's a dangerous game to play. And I understand the people that are like, well, technically they underachieved with Lamar Jackson. I think for the Giants right now, they need stability. They haven't had it for a long time. He guarantees you that. We know he can hire a staff. It sounds like Todd Monken could be the offensive coordinator of this offense, which I think is a really nice fit for Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors. And you think of Dart's mobility and, can you get the vertical pass game going with Monken? I would like that. There's been turnover on his defensive staff, but he also has hired some really smart defensive coaches
Mike McDonald,
that have now gone on to be one of the best head coaches in the NFL this year. So I think he does know how to hire a staff. The biggest question to me is I think John Harbaugh is a really good coach in this league. Is the dynamic going from Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta that are some of the best roster builders in the NFL to Joe Schoen, who has had legitimate shortcomings building the roster, and maybe this is an incomplete conversation that down the road John Harbaugh is going to get his own GM in there. That's more my concern than the actual coaching, which I think has significantly raised the floor of the New York Giants.
To me, that's the thing. So we talked about this a little bit on the pre-show call, which I finally attended, and we talked about this. Yeah, it was great. And I just said that I'm going to save my take for the show, and my take is very similar to yours, which is that I don't know. I think I'm sure John Harbaugh is a fine, good coach. He's very good at being the CEO of a football team, right? This is somebody who, Jay, to your point, like he's a special teams guy. Like he's not somebody that calls plays on either side of the ball, right? But he is somebody that can sort of run an organization, which is kind of what a head coach does in a lot of cases. But I don't think people appreciate how much John Harbaugh or any coach would have benefited from, yes, Ozzie Newsome, and they've done a great job, and Eric DaCosta, like they've done a great job, Baltimore, in terms of drafting, of finding talent. I mean, Derrick Henry was a bargain. You know what I mean? Just in terms of both free agency, that defense they've rebuilt year after year, and having an incredibly stable ownership, right? I mean, like he was given 18 years in Baltimore, and it sounded like. He'd worn out his welcome maybe a little bit there, but like the New York media and the New York ownership, I think, is going to be much less patient. And so, without the same talent and without the same talent evaluators going into this year's draft where they have a high draft pick, what does this look like? And so I think that's the concern on the knock on Harbaugh. My question this week, like, and you guys know, like, I think Mike McCarthy. No coach has done less with more talent than Mike McCarthy over the years, from peak Aaron Rodgers to Dak and everything like that. But, like, what's the difference between Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh, right? They each have one Super Bowl win. They each have good teams. McCarthy won 12 wins, for 3 years in a row in Dallas.
Playoff underachievement.
Right.
Yeah. I think Harbaugh's hired the better staff
press
over the years.
Yeah. I just think it's so difficult to evaluate these CEO type of coaches because they don't have their own side of the ball. Like, how good of a coach is Dan Campbell? Like, yeah, he hired, he hired one great offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. The defensive coordinator stuff doesn't look quite as good at this point. But it's just very hard to make value judgment. My thought, just macro-wise, is that there's a handful of guys who really move the needle in a positive way. There's a handful of guys who move the needle in a negative way. And then most coaches just fall into the middle. And if I was an organization, I would want to be shooting for upside. I know that Brian Flores moves the needle in a very positive way. And I think there is a chance that Jesse Minter might move the needle in a really positive way. I think with Harbaugh, you're getting floor with perhaps a lack of the highest ceiling.
But I think that's what the Giants ownership wants because they took a shot with Daboll. Like they were like, hey, he was the hot offensive coordinator who had made Josh Allen Josh Allen. And so now they're like, you know what? This is New York. We've got a huge fan base. They are not happy. We are in a very tough division. Let's go get a known quantity. We're not effing around. And so I think that, as opposed to we think Jesse Minter would be a good head coach, but we don't know.
I would say
like John Harbaugh, again, he's a floor. He's not going to F it up.
Daboll literally did win Coach of the Year. I think that was a fine hire, ultimately.
I agree.
Mean, it didn't end up great in the end, the way it turned out. But the thing is that if the Ravens drafted, if they had like Josh Rosen as their quarterback instead of Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh was fired 5 years ago. Like, that's just how this works.
10 years ago.
DMG asked, where are we drafting Dart next season?
I think he's in the middle rounds. I think he's going to be like, I think he's in the, 5 to 7 range at quarterback.
Pretty high.
Pretty high. Like,
yeah.
I mean, but again, like I'm going to wait on quarterback. So in terms of my overall rankings, he'll be lower probably for me, just because I think, again, if you can get Jackson Dart at QB 5, 6, or 7, somewhere in, in that range, I haven't really dialed in on my positional ranks here. But quarterback's like we talked about this. Like Brock Purdy. Like if you're in if you're in a 10-team one quarterback league or a 12-team one quarterback league, and you wait and you wind up with Brock Purdy as your starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, you wind up with Trevor Lawrence. Even if you wind up with like Dak Prescott, like there's so many guys, and I do think that like injury risk is so often overblown. That's why people stay away from Christian McCaffrey this year. But Jackson Dart is probably the single biggest injury risk at that position.
El Segundo said Scat being drafted as high as King Henry next year.
Absolutely not.
No way.
Sacrilege to the king. I would never speak ill of the king.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Scott B's drafted as high as Keaton Mitchell in your leagues.
Yeah, I'd take Scott over Keaton Mitchell.
We want him to get healthy, obviously. And again, we don't like if we once he hires an offense coordinator, we'll have a better sense of what this offense is going to look like.
What if they draft another running back in the 4th round where it's a little bit split? What if they like this staff likes Tyrone Tracy more than the previous staff?
That's right.
Scatterby will be a nice player, but...
And that was a serious injury to him.
We're talking about King Henry.
Yeah.
So...
Who do you think will be their defensive coordinator?
I saw some smoke around that they might give Jim Leonard a look from the Broncos, but he's coaching right now, so you wouldn't know about that one yet. Man, that's a tough one because I don't think he'll bring Orr with him from Baltimore.
No. Right.
That Orr did an amazing job as well. Watching Aaron Rodgers torch Orr in the final game they played.
Yeah, that's going to be. It's probably somebody still working.
Yeah.
You would think.
I'll tell you who it is not going to be, and that's Mike Tomlin. who since the last time we did this show.
Be pretty sick if it was.
It would be amazing, right? Could you,
Yeah, Giants, you have John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin on your coaching staff now.
Yeah, so after we did the last show, after we did the Peacockies, the Steelers announced that Mike Tomlin announced that he is stepping down as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's a tweet from the official account saying, "Thank you, Coach Tomlin, for the hard work, dedication, and success you brought to the Steelers over the last 19 years. The expectation is that Mike Tomlin will have his pick of TV analyst jobs, one of which, of course, is Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I've officially offered him your job, Connor, just so you know."
Yeah, that's fine.
So we'll see.
You're going to get replaced, like...
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Right. Like, who took over for you? Mike Tomlin. Be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Mike Tomlin can stand at the bar.
Yeah.
Peacocky outfit.
And the
He
Peacocky
can
outfit.
rotate in and out with Big Show.
Anyway, so we'll see.
I was going to say, if it was like Big Show took over for me, I'd be like, hang my head and walk out the building.
Right.
I might have to be escorted out of the building.
It's fair.
Kicking my legs as I'm carried.
But yeah, we've made an offer to Coach Tomlin. Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I don't
He doesn't know that yet.
No, we're in the mix though. And that's only from me.
We've reached out to some people who might know his people, who will then try
I don't
and
know
get
who
the
his
message
agent
to
is,
Tomlin.
but I put out a tweet. I'm hoping we're not, saying we'd like to have him.
He doesn't have Twitter, but we're still
I'm hoping somebody that knows him does. One of his kids, maybe.
Mike Tomlin will be the biggest name in the coaching cycle a year from today.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Should he be?
I mean, what does the coaching cycle look like?
Yeah. I just don't understand why Brian Flores doesn't get a head coaching
He's
job.
going
Because of his lawsuit.
I know, but that's so
No,
ridiculous.
I think
There's-
Brian Flores is as good of any candidate in this pool, but the objective answer is clearly, he's getting looks from other teams, which is great. I think Brian Flores should get a head coaching job this week.
Yes.
But like to literally answer your question, I think the lawsuit is why.
Right. But I know the Cowboys really want him. I heard that the Commanders are going for him. I heard a suggestion on
Pay him everything.
Pay him everything and make him assistant head coach. He's not just offensive coordinator, but
It's a bigger title.
Assistant head coach or something like that, co-head coach, whatever that you want to do. But we don't know yet on where Brian Flores will land. It's surprising, by the way, that the Vikings wouldn't just say, what does it take to keep you?
Isn't it strange that we're kind of all just assuming he's gone, even for a lateral job?
Yeah. I mean, Kevin O'Connell spoke of confidence in keeping him. Kevin O'Connell, by the way, I think a big part of his Coach of the Year award last year, even though this wasn't part of it, is that he hired Brian Flores. He went out on that limb and made that hire, and that is a huge feather in KOC's bow. But yeah, I mean, Flores is. I mean, this is the thing, and we talk about this all the time. Coaching exists outside the salary cap. These guys are so valuable. You can go to Brian Flores. You can get Mike McDaniels, your offensive coordinator.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, the other thing is Mike Tomlin, similar to John Harbaugh, is very much kind of a CEO coach.
Yes.
Now, I mean, he has experience on one side of the ball, but he's very much like just kind of a CEO coach. And so if you have just, quote, a CEO coach type, do you want Harbaugh or you want Tomlin?
Yeah.
I kind of think I want Tomlin because I would argue that Harbaugh over the years, more often than not, underperformed relative to the talent on his team, and I would argue Tomlin overperformed. I mean, he's out there gutting it out with freaking Mason Rudolph and Bubby Brister and those types.
The only thing is,
I know he had Ben for a long time, but
they also,
it was tough.
Tomlin had some rough years with his offensive coordinators. I think that's probably one mark against him.
Yes.
Yeah.
it's fair.
Just a very basic, limited offense.
The Canada offense. Yeah.
Oh, good times.
But we've seen this many times
Didn't
before,
love
where we saw it with Sean. We saw it with Sean.
that.
Sorry, we saw it with Sean Payton as well, where he just takes a year off, does TV for a year, and then is back in the coaching cycle as well. And so John Gruden, after prior to the email fiasco, but John Gruden, when he was on Monday Night Football, was always mentioned as a
Your
coach.
stock only goes up. You go on television and you have this aura now around you of well, it only gets better when you go on TV.
Our colleague Jason Garrett interviewed for the Titans job, so we'll see if Coach Garrett gets
stand next to you for a year does.
I know. Can you imagine?
Everyone's like, this Jason Garrett guy looks pretty good.
I look so dumb. They're like he makes Barry look okay, right?
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right. That's why it's elevated your guys' stock as well. Anyone that can sit next to me and be like, if you can survive Barry,
Right. I think it was the great debate video that you talked about. They watched
you got
that.
really fired up about Stafford.
Yeah, that was
great.
good. Yeah. I like that.
He got very fired up about Matthew Stafford, who we'll get to in a minute.
Yep. Let's do some divisional game previews here, guys. Look at the DraftKings prices for the Bills against. Well, here's the early line alert. We saw the lines and where the totals stand, which matters a lot. The Rams and Bears is the highest total at 48.5.
But snow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be cold.
that's
I think I'd like the under there. I mean,
I'm with you.
I still think I like the Bears plus 3.5 in the under.
We're going
in
to get
that
you in
one.
a little
I got it at
scarf and-
4.5.
We're going to get
Oh,
you
yeah,
a scarf
what's the
and beanie
attire?
operation.
You will get me in a scarf and a beanie. I don't look good in a beanie, but I'm not toughing it out.
I'm telling you, you
What
should
does it-
do
what does
the
it hide your hair?
Russian-style flappy.
style flappy one?
You could do your Russian accent again.
You should wear a dog man costume.
You know.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
I'll recommend the wardrobe. They won't listen to me. But.
Niet Maria. Exactly.
Maria. I will not be
God.
taking Roma, dude.
No, exactly.
This is going to be something. You watch on Sunday night, you won't miss it.
Peacock and NBC, I'm a company man.
Notable
Anyway.
prices, James Cook and Josh Allen at the top, no surprise there. I think the
This
question,
is on DraftKings, of course, if you're playing DFS on
Yeah, look at that
DraftKings.
logo on the left of it. It's at half the screen.
I just, I missed that.
Is there any shares of the Broncos offense you would dare touch in this game?
R.J. Harvey, for sure. I think the Bills have been bad against the run this entire year. Like, that's been one area you attack. We talked about the loss to the win against Jacksonville. We talked about that after that loss for the Jags, where we were just like, they should have run Etienne and Bashal Tutin more. Like, they ran all over Buffalo in that game, and I think if they'd run more, they might have had a different result. R.J. Harvey is averaging almost 17 touches a game, an 11% target share since he took over as a starter with J.K. Dobbins out for the year. Over 15 fantasy points per game, that's what he's averaging. Yeah, give me R.J. Harvey at, $6,200. I think that's a interesting play in this one.
Yeah, I think we need to kind of take a step back and as a nation, as a species, really accept the possibility that the Denver Broncos might be going to the Super Bowl.
I know.
Which is a very strange. If you just take a step back and think about it, think about the players on this team, think about the quarterback, think about how they've played this year, like they're favored in this game now because the Bills are so banged up. The line slipped from Bills -1.5, the Broncos -1.5. Broncos will be favored next week, whoever they play, because they'll be at home. So they're 2 games away as favored in both games from going to the Super Bowl, and us talking about Bo Nix for a week leading up to the game in Santa Clara. It's so strange.
I could see them being this year's Chiefs, where they keep squeaking by, and you're like, they can't get away with it, they can't get away with it, and then they get into the Super Bowl and they get their asses kicked by Seattle.
But the thing is like it's going to be, Seattle are the most likely team to get out of the NFC because they have home field. It's like Sam Darnold against that defense. Like the Broncos could win the Super Bowl. It's incredible. It feels like they barely made the playoffs. They were 14-3, they were 1-2.
I know. I've said I think they're fraudulent, but we'll see.
Ryan Oswald asked, should I use KW3 or RJ this week in a one-and-done league? You can only use someone once for the entire postseason.
See,
Cool
KW3. KW3, because you'll never get a more favorable matchup than the Niners' run defense. And they're 7.5-point favorites as well.
The only argument for R.J. Harvey is that again, it's one and done. So the point is that there's a chance that we expect KW3 to be available next week. Like, we think they're 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
We think Seattle is definitely winning. This is a pick'em game basically, and so there's a chance that R.J. Harvey's not available to him next week because the Broncos lose. We feel pretty good about the chance of Ken Walker being there, and whether they're playing the Bears or the Rams. Like, they're still going to be able to run the ball. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know who else Ryan Oswald has used.
Yep.
I agree with you. I would have Ken Walker III. Ken Walker III has a better matchup this week, but I think I would go with R.J. Harvey just because I think there's a better chance that Ken Walker is available to me next week versus R.J. Harvey. You have to think through that way, too.
Depends on your other options, for sure.
Valiant Vincent with a nice assist, reminding me it's a trapper hat, famously used in the movie Fargo.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Fargo and Grumpy Old Men.
Didn't see that. Only saw Fargo.
Have you seen Fargo, Matthew?
I have seen Fargo.
Are you lying? Why did you hesitate?
You had to think about that in the Rolodex?
No, I
think
have
that's a
not
lie.
I have not seen the TV show. There's a TV show
Sure,
Fargo, and I was just like,
Billy Bob
many
Thornton.
seasons. There's
St. Louis Cardinals
I've
fan,
not
Billy
seen
Bob
that
Thornton.
one, but the one with William H. Macy and Frances McDormand,
Yeah, you've seen that.
McDormand, I have seen Fargo. Yes,
Yep.
it's fantastic.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of. Why am I blanking on the names?
Coen brothers.
Coen brothers. Thank you. The brother. Like, I've seen, Raising Arizona. I've seen almost all the Coen
Country
brothers.
for Old Men?
Huh?
No Country for Old Men?
I've seen all the Coen brothers movies. I think they're fantastic.
You can wear a floppy hat like Javier Bardem's haircut.
Yes, there you go.
No Country for Old Men.
There you go. That'll be the pitch I make to wardrobe.
Our next game, guys.
I'm going to be in a beanie and look dumb. That's what's going to happen.
We got some props here, of course, for the Broncos.
By the way, 4 of the last 5 games, Courtland Sutton with a 26% target share. James Cook in 17 of the 18 Bills team running back touches last week, 100% of their running back rush attempts. He's at 7,300. And how about Khalil Shakir? who had a 34% target share last week, 12 receptions as well. I like the over on Khalil Shakir's receiving yards here, Jay, just because I think he plays in the slot, he'll avoid Pat Surtain, and I think that's how they're going to have to move the ball against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, obviously, no Terrell Shavers, who tore his ACL, and no Gabe Davis.
He played for
and
some
R.J.
of
Harvey.
it?
Give me R.J.
Yeah,
Harvey,
I think he
too.
came back in, right?
I feel like Shavers tried to gut through it,
Yeah,
unless.
which I haven't seen since Klay Thompson in Game 6 of the NBA Finals in
is
2019.
crazy.
And Gabe Davis also out, so a very thin wide receiver room. I think Josh Allen at 209.5 is a little low for his passing yards prop because I understand it's the Denver defense. Denver's also an elite rushing defense too. And the thing with Allen is that he can create out of structure. He can escape the pass rush even if he's only got one good leg. And the thing with the Broncos is they do give up explosives down the field. Think back to that Jags game a few weeks ago where Lawrence was airing it out. And so if you can avoid the pass rush and you can target the guy who is not Patrick Surtain, then I think that Allen can have some success. So I think in a obviously everything on the line type of game, the Josh Allen will have 210 plus passing yards.
Yeah, I mean, I think in any type of these games, I would do it if Josh Allen anytime touchdown would be, one that I think you feel pretty good about. I don't know what his rushing prop is, but I'd take the over on that, whatever that line is.
It's just the health is a bit of a concern now for Allen, Connor. Like he has 3 different injuries on the injury report, and also he's literally limping after the game because of the knee hyperextension.
It's kind of jarring what he comes back from over and over again, and never looks limited in the moment.
No.
The adrenaline takes over.
It's like leg bends one way.
Yeah.
He's got a foot injury already.
It also feels like he's playing with like a broken bone in his foot or something. Like it's completely insane.
After he took the snap against the Jets and came off the field to not play in the game, it didn't look pretty when he jogged off the field. I'm like, this is just it's amazing. But it is tough. Our next game, guys.
But he is the hero we need.
Yes.
I don't officially speak for NBC executives, but I'll just say
I was like, who needs him? And then I kind of kicked in.
I'm going to just tell you, as somebody who's going to be doing his first Super Bowl here in a handful of weeks,
right?
I would like a Super Bowl that has Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
That would be we'll take Drake May. We'll take Drake May. Patriots.
Drake May.
I'm a Texans man myself.
Texans.
Yep.
CJ Stroud. And
No. I want no points.
From a TV point of view, the best story is Josh Allen and the Bills finally making a Super Bowl.
Sure.
I just think.
Second best story is Drake May.
Yes, I agree.
The Patriots back.
All due respect to the Broncos. I mean, listen, I was born in Denver. You know what I mean? So I have a fun.
You're claiming all these areas. Dallas Stars.
I mean, it's a fact. I was actually born in Denver, Colorado. Wow. Rose Hospital. Shout out Rose Hospital.
We actually born in Rose Hospital. I had a daughter born in Rose Hospital in Denver, Colorado.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yes, Rose
That
Hospital.
is actually quite disturbing. that Rio was
not a good outlook for
Rio.
Rio's future outlook.
Wow.
Not good.
Poor Rio.
It's quite a twist ending.
Yeah.
The biggest twist since, the head in the box in 7. Which I won't
you were going
spoil
to do
who said it was.
M. Night Shyamalan movie. A lot of those I haven't seen.
Okay. Yeah,
I have seen Sixth Sense.
You only need to see the first 2 or 3. And then
Sixth Sense is the only one.
Yeah, Unbreakable's fine. The rest.
Unbreakable takes forever to get going.
It does.
Get to it, and then when the reveal happens, you're like, okay, finally, and then the movie's over. You're like, okay, now we've got something. Let's go, and then the movie's over.
I'll avoid it.
M. Night Shyamalan. He's like Men Without Hats. He's a one-hit movie guy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a deep accusation.
Yes.
A one-hit wonder?
One-hit wonder.
I got to go through the Rolodex.
He has one good movie, and that's Sixth Sense.
Yes. Signs is okay. Unbreakable.
He's had other movies that have been commercially successful. My argument, he's had one good movie, and that's Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense is a great movie.
Unbreakable is one good scene.
The Village was okay. It's okay.
The Village takes ages to get to a payoff that
That's
isn't
the
that
point.
great.
I'm not going to do the M. Night Shyamalan.
It's a one-trick pony.
Rolodex anymore.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Niners. Speaking of get to it.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba and Christian McCaffrey, 2 of the most expensive players, of course. If you had to pick between them, Jay, where would you go?
I would go with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We saw the success that he was able to have against the Niners in the last matchup. I think he only went 6 for 84, but he was able to largely do what he wanted. And just thinking back to the game that McCaffrey had against the Seahawks, McCaffrey did very little against Seattle. It seemed like they were very well geared to stop him. Now, there was no Trent Williams in that game. There was no Ricky Pearsall in that game, which would give McCaffrey a bit more space. But I would have more faith in JSN. The thing with the Niners is, like, most defenses you can try and take away something. I don't think they're equipped to really take away anything against the Seahawks.
If you tell me to me, it's both about floor and upside. Obviously, both players have tremendous upside, but if you tell me one of these guys falls flat on their face, Chris McCaffrey much more likely to struggle against the Seahawks defense than Jackson Smith and Jigba against this banged-up Niners defense. In the two matchups previously, JSN averaged almost 17 fantasy points per game. He had a 44% target share in those two games. And again, in a game where it's win or go home, that's where they're going to be looking all the time.
I think it also gets a little lost that in the Week 18 matchup, JSN was like a toenail away from a 50-yard touchdown that he stepped out of bounds like the 30 or something. So JSN, he did whatever he wanted against the Niners. And that was in a game where they were giving up a ton on the ground as well. So I think that, with 2 weeks to prepare for this game, huge rest advantage. The Seahawks are 7.5-point favorites for a reason, and JSN should feast.
All-time comment here from Kate Gemma.
Rose Hospital.
Mr. Crocodile Dundee 3 taking shots at M. Night Shyamalan is like Charlie Kohler taking shots at George Kittle.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Are you saying I'm the Charlie Kohler of screenwriting?
Unbelievable.
That's actually like more credit than you may deserve.
Honestly,
Charlie
that's
Kohler's
fair.
a pretty useful NFL player.
That's fair. No, and I'll tell you why not. It's not me. Well, it's fair actually. But all I was going to say is like the difference here is that I admit Crocodile is not a good movie. I admit that it's not a good movie, right? I mean, like we were given a bunch of parameters by.
Oh, here we go. The excuse.
You're damn right. Put on my
It
excuse.
wasn't my fault. Crocodile Dundee 3 wasn't that great.
Oh,
Didn't you post a photo of yourself and Paul Hogan on Instagram a couple days ago?
I did. 100% did.
When Matthew Berry was a young, thin man with hair.
I was a young, thin man with hair. No, I did the trend where, at some point, someone will tell you something. It's very important you never listen to them. So I posted a photo of me and Paul Hogan and my writing partner, Eric Abrams. Shout out to Eric wherever he is. And he's in LA, but I haven't talked to him in like a month or two.
Thank you for clarifying.
But I just basically said, hey, you're in your 20s you will be a Hollywood movie writer, but you will hate your job. You will want to quit to try to make a career at fantasy football. Everyone will tell you you are crazy. And then it flips to a bunch of pictures of me doing this, saying, but it's very important that you don't listen to him. And it's with the Billy Joel, Stephen Nicks. Yeah. My daughter did it. Shout out to my daughter, Brooks.
Yes, skilled.
She's the one who did the whole thing.
Good.
But yes. Anyway, I admit it's a bad movie. And I also argue, even though I'm wearing my Excusler hat, that star, executive producer, and co-author Paul Hogan had more influence over the plot and storytelling of Crocodile in Los Angeles than I did, a lowly screenwriter.
It's his fault.
Yes, it was.
Stupid Dev. I'm trying to work back here, but getting tunnel vision with the guys roasting my all-time favorite director. Listen, Dev, if M. Night Shyamalan's your favorite director, you got big problems, my friend. Because here's the thing. He hit one home run with a sixth sense, and then he hit 2 sack flies with Unbreakable and Signs, then he struck out on 3 pitches on everything else that he's done.
Number one, that's a tough.
Have you watched Old? Because it's not good.
Come on.
Stupid.
Stupid Dev. Now back to, sorry, Dev. You had a chance there. You were Emmy Award-winning Dev. You were. Now it's back to runner-up Dev. Now you're stupid Dev. You're back to stupid Dev with that M. Night Shyamalan take.
Paul Thomas Anderson, Martin Scorsese.
Here's the player
By the way, Dev, stupid
Seahawks,
Dev, by the way,
Niners.
now officially a nominee for worst movie take next year.
Oh, yeah.
The Peacocky.
There you go. Favorite director. Jay, what about this board?
Yeah, so looking at the props of 49ers Seahawks, Sam Darnold set 233.5 passing yards, narrowly above Brock Purdy. We'll get to Kenneth Walker's rushing prop later in the show, gentlemen, but it is pretty stunning to see Christian McCaffrey only at 53.5 rushing yards. I don't think he came close to that in the first matchup, but going up against the Seahawks, who have arguably the best rushing defense in the NFL. The interesting thing, I think, is with the receiving yards for the Niners guys, in which Niners receiver is the most attractive because there's not a lot of options here.
No, and 40 yards for Juwan Jennings feels like, the problem is if Pearsall is back, they just have a lot of options here. But how about Jake Tongas, though, who scored in 3 of the past 4 games that George Kittle wasn't out? I think Tongas, maybe for an anytime touchdown or just, over on his receiving prop. Seahawks struggle against opposing tight ends. I think Tongas is actually pretty interesting this weekend.
The game-winning touchdown against the Seahawks back in week 1 when Kittle went down in that game as well.
Yeah. Is it surprising, though, how low some of those numbers are, considering the total of this game is still 45 45.5.
Yeah, which I don't really get.
That's what I'm trying to match up.
Yeah, I mean, the market is projecting that it's going to be the Seahawks doing the bulk of the scoring. So JSN set at 93.5 receiving yards. So he's the only guy expected to really pop off. But yeah, I think this is going to be a low scoring.
Right, here's my counter to that with the market thinking the Seahawks will score a lot. If the Seahawks control this game, they're not going to tell Sam Darnold to just drop back and go wild.
Yep.
They're going to be very calculated. They are a run-heavy team under Kubiak anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, the last time it was Week 18, right, that they played the Niners, and like Charbonnet and Walker just crushed them. They just ran at will against those guys, and I don't know why they would go away from that. Like, I would be like, I'm going to run these guys until you stop them.
Yeah,
They'll come up with a different plan this time, but still.
I think the argument for scoring in this game, Connor, would be that Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall changed the complexion of the Niners offense. Because Purdy, one, he was under siege, and then he had no one creating separation.
Right.
And now, look, you lose Kittle, who played in Week 18, but Pearsall's ability to separate if he's healthier and just Trent Williams giving him a bit more time could change things a little bit.
I think the second argument is the more times you see Kyle Shanahan, he's going to have more answers for you. And to be fair to Mike McDonald, he'll know how to counter as well. But it can't be like last time. Last time was just it was insane. All right, our next game, guys.
Yeah, I think you think they kill him, right? You think the Seahawks just absolutely destroy him?
I like 7.5 for the Niners.
I was just saying I could see a backdoor cover here.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be a 20-point winner.
Yeah.
Texans, Patriots. This board, not really that crazy. Nico Collins might not play.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect
in this game. He's trending towards not playing. So the board, there's not a lot of high-priced players in this game. And that's because the Texans' defense is just a buzzsaw, Matthew.
It really is. And so, I mean, I could see if you wanted to go with the argument for Drake May is that maybe he uses his legs a little bit more. He's averaging almost 40 rushing yards a game over the past 5 games. He had like over 60 last week as well. And so, again, thinking about the pressure that Houston brings, could Drake May get on his wheels and try to avoid pressure here? But like, this feels like over under 40.5. This feels like a game to try to avoid in fantasy lineup decision making, unless you're in a large field tournament and you're just trying to, go contrarian here. I will say that Christian Kirk at 4,100, 28% target share last week. 8 for 144 and a touchdown. Nico Collins not there. He'll avoid Christian Gonzalez being in the slot.
Right.
Christian Kirk becomes sort of interesting, I think, in this one.
Best game ever last week.
Yeah, he won them. And people forget, because it ended up being such a blowout. But that was a close game going into the fourth quarter. And if they don't complete that 3rd and 15 to Christian Kirk, it could be a different outcome. I do think, as imposing as the Texans' defense is, and I think it's between them and the Seahawks, who has the best defense in the league, I do think they are a little bit inflated now, because it felt like Aaron Rodgers could have had 30 drives in that game and he was never going to score a touchdown. It just felt completely untenable. Drake May is a different animal, and Drake May's ability to create outside of structure, to take shots down the field as well, I think it will look a bit different. Like, teams have been able to move the ball at times against the Texans this year. So Drake May, I think he has it in him to have a big game here, even if it is a very difficult matchup.
What do we think about Ramondre Stevenson? 3 straight games with 100 or more scrimmage yards, but now he faces the Texans defense.
Their linebackers are as fast as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It's just...
I agree. I just think for fantasy lineup decisions, I think this is a game to avoid. Texans defense at 3,400. Interesting, although, again, because the mobility of Drake May, I don't know that they get home the way you think they might.
But they create takeaways.
They do.
That's why I'd pay the price for this one. And Drake May, for all his
he wasn't great
amazing plays, he'll take chances through the air, and he holds the ball.
Yeah.
If Nico Collins is out, by the way, also just one last person in here, Dalton Schultz is interesting. In the games in which he's seen at least 5 targets, and if there's no Nico Collins, you would expect Schultz to see at least 5 targets. He's averaging over 13 fantasy points per game. So, Schultz, again, nothing sexy about Dalton Schultz, but he will catch it and fall down. Here's some of the props.
Yeah. Not a surprise, pretty low numbers across the board on this one, Jay.
Yeah, Woody Marks at 56.5 is a little interesting to me, just given that the Patriots' rush defense in the second half of the year hasn't been fantastic, and particularly if Nico Collins isn't going to go, this could be a defensive battle where the Texans are looking to run the ball as is their want. Don't mind Kayshon Boutte, 31.5, long reception. Yeah, he just needs one.
Stephon Diggs, 47.5. Hashtag revenge game for Stephon Diggs.
He played 8 games. I think he just...
Yeah.
It's more the Buffalo revenge games.
But he knows those guys.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. I feel like Stephon Diggs always shows up in the big games for the Patriots.
Yeah,
feels like he's just
He's the guy against man coverage.
Right.
And the Texans play a ton of man coverage. That's what they do. This is a huge game for Drake May. This is going to be fun because he's going to finish either first or second in MVP. Now he gets to, to go up against maybe the best defense in football, and his ability to create outside of structure is going to determine the game.
Yeah.
Our
I realize
last game-
Connor wants a Texans-Seahawks Super Bowl.
I'd love that.
America does
Texans
not.
Rams, Texans Seahawks, Texans Bears.
Texans Seahawks would be 10-7.
Yeah,
Something
let's
like
go.
that.
To be fair, it was like 27-19 when they played earlier this year as a shootout. JSN destroyed Derek Stingley.
Right.
So that'd be an interesting
Texans
rematch.
defense on their own could score 14 points.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
it's fair.
Our last
Especially
game,
since
guys,
Sam
is the
Darnold.
highest total of the week, which we were slightly surprised by the 48.5 number. But the Rams going to Chicago, Matthew going to Chicago in his trapper hat,
Yeah.
Puka Nacua going to Chicago with his $9,000 price tag.
Comrade Matty.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of other Russian phrases. I can't at the moment.
Nostradania.
Yeah.
That's goodbye.
Okay. I'll sign off. I'll sign off my DraftKings.
Nostradania, Marie. That would be a disaster.
The crown is not yours, it's mine. Welcome to communist Russia. All right, Puka Nacua, 35% target share. It was a kind of a high line here, but as we've talked about, this Bears defense isn't that good. And if there's anyone you're going to bet on to just absolutely crush in this big game, I think it's Puka Nacua.
They're opportunistic, is what the Bears are.
Yeah, the only thing is with the Rams is their offense hasn't really looked right ever since the first Panthers game. And I understand that they had success at the end and Stafford was able to drive for a winning touchdown. But Stafford at one point, the completion percentage wasn't great. They just haven't looked like they've been rolling at the same level that they were in the middle part of the year. But at the same time, this Bears defense got gashed for 42 by the Niners, and the Niners scored 3 points the week after against Seattle. So also, Jordan Love threw for 4 touchdowns and kind of did whatever he wanted until late in the game.
That's the argument for Stafford, right? 323 yards and 4 touchdowns for Jordan Love last week against these same Bears. And we like Matthew Stafford more than we like Jordan Love. We like Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams more than Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs and all the guys there.
Let's look at the
Christian
props
Watson.
for this game in Chicago. Once again, a high point total despite the very, very cold weather. Matthew Stafford's passing line as high as you'll see at this point in the playoffs, Jay, 267.5.
Yeah, and there is expected to be snow on Sunday in Chicago, but I don't think the wind is going to be so significant. Not expecting rain, which Matthew will like. And so I think that Stafford, the elements I don't think should deter him too much. Also, we saw, as much as Stafford has struggled outdoors at times, like think back to the playoffs last year against Philadelphia. He played pretty well in that game, was able to put up numbers there against a much more ferocious defense than he'll see in Chicago. I do think the rushing attack as well, the Rams could be interesting here.
I'm with
he can
you.
run on the Bears. Blake Corum continues to get a lot of work.
Yeah, he does. Other side of the ball, though, I think I would probably take unders on like DeAndre Swift. Like the way you attack. First off, we think the Rams are they're gonna get into a shootout here. The Rams are gonna be able to move the ball against Chicago, and I just don't think the Bears will be able to run and play kind of the methodical type game that they want to. I think it's going to have to be Caleb Williams' arm. So Colson Loveland becomes sort of interesting in this game, and I'm worried about DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai going up against that Rams defense. But as the Carolina Panthers and Jalen Coker showed, you can throw against this Rams secondary that I think might be a little overrated.
Bit shaky. Also, great coaching matchup here. McVay, Johnson. The other NFC matchup too, Shanahan, McDonald. These might be I think they are the 4 best coaches in the NFC.
Did you see when McVay was asked about if he's spoken to LaFleur on the phone? It was a very funny moment.
Okay.
He kind of hinted like duh with a smile, but then kind of deflected away from the question and smiled again. It's the Ben Johnson rivalry against that coaching tree is fascinating. Sunday night, everything is on the line.
They're very close to LaFleur and McVay.
In the divisional round, Matthew Stafford leads the Rams against Caleb Williams and the Bears. The NFL divisional round, Sunday, 6 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. We're taking our first break. When we're back, we're answering some of your biggest offseason questions. What's on tap after this?
So yeah, I'm on the Peacockies, but I'm honored to be here. I have never been hired. Does Bud Light still sponsor their show? I could really use a beer.
Stick around for what's on tap.
Absolutely. Bud Light, it's easy to enjoy.
That's
easy
right.
Sunday.
Yeah, fridge full of beer.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to drink it in the Peacocky outfit.
What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they are full of football and the fridge is filled with beer. And we're going to make it even easier for you by taking some of your best questions. And the first one comes from Valiant Vincent, of course, or Valiant Twitch on Twitter, who said, what do you think of Cam Ward as a second quarterback in Superflex? I liked a lot of what I saw from him down the stretch.
Yeah, I think I think potentially. My answer here is like, I want to know sort of what this team does. I want to know who their coach is. I want to know what they do in the offseason. They need to give Cam Ward some help. But I agree with Valiant Vincent here, Connor, that I thought he showed signs of progress in the second half, despite the fact that he wasn't surrounded by very much. There was a coaching change, obviously. Callahan out, Mike McCoy, interim head coach, in as well for Cam Ward. But in each of his last 4 completed games, multiple touchdown passes. His passer rating was like over 100 starting in week 15. So, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why this guy was the #1 overall pick next year.
Right. You saw the talent. The last couple of games, it felt like he was throwing 2 touchdowns every single game. He looked really improved, and that was with no help. And it feels like for Tennessee, as much as they've struggled a lot, this is a job that I think they could do pretty well. They might be able to get a Kevin Stefanski. Even if they went down the road of a defensive guy like a Robert Saleh, can he bring in a Mike McDaniel or a Cliff Kingsbury? Whatever.
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
Shout out to our guy, Jason Garrett.
The bottom line is...
Jason Garrett's a great, by the way, anyway.
No one's denying that.
Huh?
No one's denying
I know.
it.
I'm just saying. Jason Garrett's a good coach.
The point is, they will put an emphasis on getting the right offensive staff around him.
How much of a problem is it how long Cam Ward holds on to the ball?
Honestly, I think it's just why you love him and why sometimes he might be frustrated with it.
some-
Like, it's part of his greatness.
Yeah.
You don't want to ever take that away from a player because then it can limit them in a way that makes them not what they were.
And as we've seen with Caleb Williams this year, you can weaponize that. Because Caleb, the knock on him was he holds on to the ball
There you
too
go.
long. Well, this year he never got sacked. So if
Yeah.
Cam Ward can turn that switch
Now,
as
the
well.
fumbles are our problem.
Yeah.
Needs a coaching staff and players around him, but he's going to be in that 18 to 24 range. So right on the border, Valiant Vincent, of being super flex eligible, for sure.
Cgrav05 asked if Tyreek goes back to the Chiefs, what are your thoughts?
Super interesting, obviously.
If healthy.
Yeah, I mean, like, he had that knee injury in week 4. That was a serious one.
It looked
really bad. He's 32 years old, right, or will be when this season starts next year. Friend of the podcast, Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, but if healthy, like, they need help. Xavier Worthy did not take the step forward that we thought he would this year. You're going to have Rashee Rice in the middle of the field, but assuming that Travis Kelce retires, which I don't know if that he's going to or not, but assuming he does, it feels like the Chiefs are going to need some more weapons. But it's all health related. To me, he'd be an interesting flyer. I don't know that I'm targeting him. You're not drafting him the way you used to.
Yeah, do they need more wide receivers? Like you have Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown.
The problem is, outside of Rashee Rice, I don't think any of those guys are good.
Are we out on Xavier Worthy?
Yeah.
When you're that light, you're just
Tyquan Thornton was
limited in
earning
the NFL.
targets there.
Right. I mean, the tight end was a huge part of the offense. We don't know if the tight end's in the offense next year.
We also don't know if Mahomes is going to be back for opening day.
You almost want Tyreek Hill back there just to hope that it reactivates Mahomes' deep ball accuracy.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been able to throw the deep ball to anyone who's not Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so, I mean, my guess is he would be, if you knew he was fully healthy and you knew Mahomes was going to be back there for week 1, he's in the, wide receiver 25 to 35 range off the top of my head, like a low-end wide receiver 3, high-end wide receiver 4 with obviously some upside, but obviously concerned because he's older, injury-prone, and they've got, the offense is going to go through Rashee Rice next year.
B-Sauce with our last question. If you're in a 10-team league, is Tyler Shough a quarterback you roster as your second quarterback, borderline starter, or just leave him as a free agent?
He's absolutely a number 2 quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, but you leave him as a free agent. If you're in a 10-team league, so the question is, if you're in a 10-team league, 1-quarterback league, you don't need a second quarterback. Like when I play in those leagues, and that's ESPN standard format, a 10-team, 1-quarterback league. When you play in there's so many quarterbacks in the waiver wire. I'm not going to waste a roster spot on a second quarterback.
Yeah.
Do I think he's a top 20 quarterback next year? I do. Yeah. But I'm not. in terms of roster construction, I just wouldn't put a second quarterback there.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think that there is a chance that Tyler Shough could be a top 10 fantasy quarterback next year. He can run. He was accurate. He has a superstar wide receiver in Chris Olave. He has, I think, an offensive line that's young and has upside, and he has Kellen Moore, and he's a good tight end. So, yeah, there are worlds where Tyler Shough could be a top 10 quarterback. But, yeah, to your point, you don't need to draft two in that format. Yeah,
and like, let's see if they add somebody in the draft or free agency where you're like, to add to that offense to maybe replace Rashid Shaheed. But right now he's going to be in that 16 to 20 range for me. So a lower end QB2. Certainly like him a lot. He's very viable in Superflex or deeper leagues, but 10-team one-quarterback leagues, I'm leaving him as a free agent to answer Bert's question.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're taking one more break. When we're back, we have our best picks to impress Matthew. Pick-up lines after this.
Can't wait for Jay.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, the crown is yours!
Last call, pickup lines. I've crawled out of the depths.
Yeah.
To above 500.
You're above 500. You're bet cashing.
Yeah.
It's been a tough year for Jay.
Yeah.
He has a lot of other good betting takes.
He does.
Yes.
But it's been a tough year for Jay. Capped by the fact that he found out. Is it me?
Yeah, you're choosing him.
I'm choosing wrong?
Yes. No. Continue, though.
The curse
Please,
is Barry.
continue on.
It's fine. It's not me that crowned the Colts the AFC champion and then immediately killed them.
Yeah, I did kill the Colts. Okay, you're going to like this one. This is a good one. Kenneth Walker. His rushing prop is 59.5 against the San Francisco 49ers, who have no players left on defense.
That's very fair.
They rank second last in the NFL in terms of rushing success rate allowed. Only the Giants are a worse rushing defense than them. If only we'd seen Ken Walker go up against this defense 2 weeks ago. Oh, wait, we did. He went 16 for 97 on the ground, and there's no outlier long run there. His longest run in that game was 20 yards. And you might say, oh, Zach Charbonnet takes some work away. You know who had more carries than Ken Walker 2 weeks ago? Zach Charbonnet had 17 carries. Ken Walker still went 16 for 97. That was in a game that was about pick. Now the Seahawks are 7.5-point favorites at home. If they get up in this game as expected, they're not going to let Sam Darnold lose them a trip to the NFC title game. They're going to run the ball. Kenneth Walker will get his carries, and he'll get at least 60 rushing yards.
It's a good presentation.
It's a good.
I'm not going to lie. I get it. You don't have to choose me here.
I'm just saying. He sells it well.
I wanted to crank up the pressure on the streak here. Let's go plus money. Danielle Hunter to record a sack is plus 100. Danielle Hunter has a sack in each of his last 5 games. Did you watch Will Campbell against the Chargers? And Will Campbell's had a really nice rookie season. This is a tough draw for an all-pro tackle in the league, let alone a rookie. Morgan Moses on the other side. Danielle Hunter will see both of them. Will Anderson was minus 136. Danielle Hunter, who's been on fire, was plus 100. Give me the plus money.
I really like that bet. I want to take your bet. I want to. You're above 500 as well. having a pick, I feel better about Walker against the 49ers than going Danielle Hunter getting a sack against a very mobile quarterback. Like, they'll probably get to him, but does he escape it? There's plus money for a reason. It's closing time. You don't have to go, but you can't see here. Watch me freeze in Chicago Sunday night. We're back on Monday for Jay and Connor. I'm Matthew. Peace out.